Hello. Now that Mr. Taylor has renounced his position in that Bouchard-Taylor report, doesn't that mean that a significant part of your argument to implement the recommendation of the Bouchard-Taylor report has now become weakened?
No, I don't think so. There was a consensus amongst the people at the commission. Mr. Taylor decided to get out of the consensus, but in the meantime, more than 80% of Quebecers thought that was a good idea. And I have a lot of respect for Mr. Taylor. I read his letter carefully this morning, and his argument is basically that if you want to implement a change that would bring some people, narrow-minded people, to express themselves, you should not go ahead. Well, that means that we wouldn't have legalized gay marriage. That means that we wouldn't have acted on language. That means that we wouldn't have even given the right to vote to women, because a lot of narrow-minded men at the time were extremely dissatisfied and vocal against women at that time. So I think this is a very weak argument, and even an argument against a peaceful deliberation for the next stages. What I know now is that every party in this assembly is willing to make compromises to come to a common bill this spring, except for Mr. Couillard. And we know that within Mr. Couillard's cabinet and caucus, there are a lot of people who are pushing him not to stay isolated and to make a compromise on his part. So I will leave the Liberals to go on and debate amongst themselves.
What about his argument? Because you brought up the fact that 80% of Quebecers at a certain time supported this recommendation. But what Mr. Taylor says is that the context now is different. That 80% was also years ago, and now we're in 2017. So do you understand that a context can change, and so maybe his recommendation also can change as well?
I am confident that this level of support holds now, and if your media wants to check it through a poll, you're welcome to it. But basically, the other argument of Mr. Couillard is that you shouldn't intervene in investments. Well, he does. I mean, his bill would impede persons from having a certain type of investment covering the face. So he's already crossed that line. So once he crossed that line, he cannot say we shouldn't cross this line. So I think his argument is very weak.
Merci. Madame Plante.
Hello, Mr. Lisée. The Premier this morning said that the Quebec City mosque shootings have spurred his government into action, and he talked, among other things, of Bill 98 and the swift adoption of this bill. So do you support Bill 98?
Bill 98 being?
The professional orders.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we have to revisit it in the light of the extremely, well, I won't say extremely, in the light of hurdles that are put in the way of a recognition of skills and professional help. I'm glad that after 3 years of basic inaction from the Liberal government on the field of integration of Quebecers from abroad, they'll start moving today. We have tabled 20 recommendations last week, some of which go far beyond what is proposed today. We're asking the Premier to convene a task force with his representatives and our representatives, so that we can act on this issue of professions, but also on other issues within the current session. We're still waiting for a response. I think we can do much more in the next few months than just what Mr. Couillard announced today.
But you support it and would possibly be in favor of the bill. You'd like to improve it, but
action is needed to lift the hurdles in the professional corporations towards a better recognition of skills. Yes.
How do you feel about Gerry Sklavounos returning to the National Assembly?
I mean, once the Premier has come to the same conclusion as we did, that there was no place for him in the caucus of an important party, Now it's left to the conscience of Mr. Sklavounos. Of course, it's problematic that he does not acknowledge that he has done anything wrong. I mean, we're not talking about the criminal accusations, but just his behavior. So if he does not believe that he did something wrong, he feels he should be here. But I think it's up to him. If we were at the beginning of a mandate, I would more strongly recommend that he leave. But since we're pretty much in the last year, if he's there, it's his decision.
Merci. Madame Johnson, CTV.
Hello, Mr. Lisée. I just wanted you to elaborate on that because right after Mr. Sklavounos made his public statement last week, we heard from Mireille Jean and Carole Poirier, and they said they were very disappointed because it didn't really sound like an actual apology. And so, you agree? What did you make of his statement?
Of course I agree. I mean, his statement was that he did nothing wrong, and if women felt that something wrong had happened, it's because they misunderstood his personality. Of course, it's not satisfactory. Now he's out of the caucus of the Liberal Party. That's fine. He has the right to sit here. I'm dissatisfied with his statements and positions, but there's nothing we can do.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde. À plus tard.